3 lifelong friends, 6 trusty balls, and endless NFL takes. Welcome to 3 Guys, 6 Balls NFL Podcast.
Welcome to episode 49 of 3 Guys, 6 Balls NFL Podcast. I'm your host, Joel, and I'm here with my 2 co-hosts, Will and Avery. The NFL season is officially over after the Seattle Seahawks beat the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl, so congrats to them. But that means it's officially the offseason for every NFL team, which means it's time to start doing our scouting reports for the upcoming 2026 NFL Draft. However, before we get there, I just wanted to get your guys' quick thoughts on the Super Bowl. Will, I know you're eager to throw some Drake May shade here, so why don't you start us off?
Man, that guy played terrible for 3 1/3 quarters of that game. Honestly, awful. Missing open guys. But he was moved off his spot. Okay, well, he's an NFL quarterback. He was runner-up in the MVP. Okay? Runner-up. All Matthew Stafford did against that team was throw for like 900 yards, 8 touchdowns, no picks. Now, yeah, they played 3 times, but still, in the playoffs, Matthew Stafford, don't want to disrespect the man. Matthew Stafford threw for 375 or something like that yards, 3 touchdowns. The NFC Championship was a significantly better game than the Super Bowl. I mean, there's just no other way to say that. The AFC Championship was even arguably a better game than that Super Bowl. Seattle showed up ready to play. The Patriots showed up, I guess, and that's pretty much all that happened. Like, it was a dominant performance from the very start by Seattle, and then the Patriots, I don't know if they're going to be back. This is one of those moments like Dan Marino lived this, right? I'm not calling Drake May as good as Dan Marino by any means, but there's another quarterback that made it in their second year and is yet to get back, and that's Joe Burrow. And they lost it. And that team has just never been good enough to get all the way back. And the way Will Campbell was put on his ass, sorry, Dwayne, over and over and over again. Look, he's going to get better. There's no way he doesn't get better. He's a rookie this year. His college career has never gone 20 games or 21 games or however many games they played. He's exhausted. I'm not calling him the worst. I'm not calling him bad, but he got beat on almost every single play in that Super Bowl, and it showed.
Will's always out here stealing everything I want to say, because that's exactly what I was going to say, is I think that Super Bowl could have been the only chance that the Patriots had to win a Super Bowl for a long time.
Yeah.
I really do. I think that Super Bowl was the Patriots' only chance to win a Super Bowl for a very long time. The chances of them ever having that easy of a schedule to the Super Bowl again are not high. I understand that they played top defenses in every playoff game, but the most points that they had to score to win a game before the Super Bowl was 17 points. In 2 of the games, all they had to do was score 10 points. With all these quarterbacks in the AFC that you didn't have to play this year, there's just no way that the future playoff runs you're going to have are going to be against 3 offenses that are just horrendous. I'm not saying the Patriots are going to be bad, but it's incredibly hard to make the Super Bowl, and the Patriots had probably the easiest road to the Super Bowl we've ever seen. And I'm not saying that they won't get back to the Super Bowl ever, but I am saying that it's a lot harder to do than what they had to do this year. So I hope Patriots fans enjoyed it, because I don't see it happening again anytime soon.
Sorry, Avery, you go.
Oh, I just, first I want to give a shout out to Austin, one of my buddies from home, and my 2 cousins, one of which has aired on the show, both of which have been on the show. But all 3 of them big Seahawks fans, and they've got to be feeling pretty good right now. That being said, I feel like the game went exactly as everyone kind of thought it would. I feel like everyone kind of
except Patriots fans.
Yeah, and if you're from Boston, it's like, yeah, like this.
And 49ers fans.
Yeah. It's just like, I want both teams to lose. It's like, I get it. I get that. But no, I feel like everyone tried to give some different takes just for the sake of parody, maybe. But the game went exactly as I feel like everyone kind of thought it would. Seahawks just kind of imposed their will. Drake May was still the same Drake May that wasn't, facing, whether lesser opponents or, opponents that had just worse games, or the Broncos that lost their quarterback. And then, not yesterday, Sunday was their day of reckoning. So I thought the Seahawks deserved it. I thought they went through the gauntlet. I thought they, performed well the whole season. Honestly, good for them. I'm really happy for Sam Darnold. I feel like, just as one of those guys that just definitely got written off. I mean, even after 14 wins in Minnesota, still got written off. Went to the Seahawks and won it. So, I mean, I'm happy just because, I'm from the Pacific Northwest. Not a Seahawks fan myself, but I know a lot of them. But I like to see the Pacific Northwest beat on Boston, so it was fun.
The amount of people that were missing from work Monday. I live in the Pacific Northwest currently. The amount of people that just were not at work on Monday was a lot higher than I was expecting, actually. I was like, oh, wow, you're not here. You know what? We'll call it all pre-planned. You took the day off beforehand. You knew. So, yeah. Last touch thing here. The Patriots and this stat's been going around a bunch, so you've probably seen it or heard it or whatnot. The Patriots had 53 drives in the postseason. Their points per drive were 1.13. The 0-17 Browns, 2017, 0-16 Browns, from 2017. Their points per drive for the whole season, 1.33. They were, now, granted, your sample size is different, and it's easier to have a lower number because you've got less attempts. Yeah. The math is the math, right? And you're cherry-picking stats to fit the narrative. But still, that's really bad. That's really bad. I mean, how many punts in a row was it for the Patriots in the Super Bowl? Like 6 or 8 or something like that, and then the halftime happened. It's like, all right, well, come back out. We're punting again. They played bad. They played bad. They just played bad.
Before Joel gets into the main topic, I do want to give a special shout out to the North Carolina Tar Heels, who led for less than half a second in the whole game and came out and beat Duke. Oh, as much as I like the Buccaneers and the NFL, it pales in comparison to Carolina beating Duke. It is a sweet, sweet, tender mercy of the Lord that I get to experience in this life, watching Carolina beat Duke. And it is, there's nothing like it. And especially in that way, in a way that will be played for the next few decades when they show highlights of Carolina Duke, like this is in there now. It wasn't enough that we beat Coach K in his last game at Cameron. It wasn't enough that we beat Coach K in his final game in their first time meeting in not only the tournament, but in the Final Four with Caleb and Caleb Love's amazing three-pointer over Mark Williams. Anyway, I just want to say, go Tar Heels, and Duke can suck it. And I'm not going to apologize to my dad because he 100% agrees with that. All right, Joel.
All right. Well, congrats to the Tar Heels and congrats to the Seattle Seahawks for winning the Super Bowl.
Joe, I'm sorry. Hold on. Is this just like a regular season game, Avery? This isn't even like the ACC tournament? It's just like a game?
And they play each other twice. So it's not even like the one time they play them. And they could also play them in the ACC tournament. But it's Duke had only lost one game. Duke was like 20-1 and only lost that one game to a really good team who only beat them by 1. So they came in there like ready to like beat the brakes off Carolina, and they were doing that, and then choked. They choked and gave up an amazing, basically buzzer beater to the star. Well, not even the star. I mean, Caleb Wilson's a star, but Seth Trimble, total blue blood. Senior Carolina. Oh, storybook ending. But yes, you're right. It was just in the middle of the season. That's how big it was.
Right. Fair enough. Okay. Thank you.
All right. So today we're going to get into some scouting reports to start off the NFL draft season. And so last year when we started our podcast, we started in March and we kind of got a late start to the NFL draft process. We also had no idea what we were doing. So there wasn't much structure at the time when it came to scouting reports. So this year, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the ESPN top 50 big board, and we're going to scout the players, and then we're going to rank them based off where we think they should go and make our own top 50 big board. So the plan right now is to do 6 players a week. We'll see how today goes, see if we can get through 6, but we plan on doing 6 a week, and this is how it's going to work. So after today, we're going to rank the players how we think they should be ranked 1 through 6. And then next week, we'll go through the players 7 through 12 on the ESPN Top 50 Big Board, and then put those players into our rankings. So if we feel like number 7 on the ESPN Top 50 Big Board should be ranked either higher or lower, we will then move him around to where we think he should go into the top 12. And then the following week, we do the same thing with players 13 through 18 and so on. So We're going to start by giving the scouting reports for players 1 through 6 on the ESPN Top 50 Big Board. And then at the end of the show, we'll rank them how we feel like they should go on our own Top 50 Big Board. So just so you guys know who those top 6 are for the ESPN's Top 50, the number 1 player is Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza. Number 2 is Ohio State linebacker Arvell Reese. Number 3 is Notre Dame running back Jeremiyah Love. Number 4, Texas Tech edge David Bailey. Number 5, Ohio State safety Caleb Downs. And number 6 is Miami edge Rueben Bain Jr. Those are the top 6 we're going to go over today, starting with number 1, which is Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza. I am going to share my screen because I have a slideshow with scouting reports for you guys, courtesy of ChatGPT. So,
come on, don't reveal the secrets.
No, I did this all myself. I made all the images and everything. Did it all myself.
Next time, we have a graphics guy. Okay, they don't even know it's you and the internet.
Graphics guy. The show's been getting big. We've been putting it off for a bit, but we finally pulled the trigger.
That's right. All right, so number 1, Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza. Avery, give us your scouting report for Fernando Mendoza.
Here's the thing. I think he is. I want to preface this by saying I do think he is the top prospect. I think he is probably the biggest game changer in the draft. However, that being said, this feels a little bit like the Trubisky situation, and not exactly the same. It's definitely not a one-to-one comparison, but more like, okay, where was this guy ranked, coming out of Cal? And then you see him here at Indiana, and as insane of a season as it was, it is kind of a question of, okay, was this Mendoza? Was this the coach? Was this different? He had an incredible season, but it was one of those things as a Oregon fan who had to endure this game twice. There was something about that didn't really seem like a superstar player necessarily. I'm not saying he isn't, but it was something that it was so well coached and such a great game plan that we just got exposed everywhere. And normally, any NFL defense, any football defense, it's like, yeah, there's going to be weaknesses. The trick is, can the quarterback, find it? And maybe that is what it is. What I'm curious to see, and it's really just this next season, is, okay, is Indiana going to be just as good? Is it more of a system? Is Fernando Mendoza just a product of a great system and a great coach? Or is he actually a great, as good as advertised? Meaning if you swap any other quarterback that's, at least a decent, draft prospect, and you put him at Indiana, would he have had just as good a season? Is basically what I'm coming at. And so I feel like a lot of the reason he is the number 1, and I don't just mean number 1, but like unanimous number 1 pick, is because of the season he had. But it wasn't just him. I think the scramble he had was incredible. I think he's very, very deserving of it. But I think next season will be interesting to see. Okay, Cignetti and Mendoza, kind of like Brady and Belichick. It's like, hey, who's really pulling the most weight here? So having said that, I think he's got all the physical tools. I think his mentality is great. I think the fact that he's just seems to just want to get to work and just seems like a great positive influence in the locker room. I don't think it's a question he should be number 1. I would just like to see, okay, you had a really good situation last year. Let's see how you do in Las Vegas with the Raiders. So I'm curious to see it, but I do still feel like he is the number 1.
Yeah, I really like Fernando Mendoza a lot. I think he's very smart and he's got a very high football IQ. I think he processes things very well, both pre and post snap. So he's able to diagnose coverages very well, and he understands what he needs to do to effectively attack a defense. He was the most efficient quarterback in college football last year with a rating of 182.9, which is higher than Jackson Dart was in 2024, which is one of the reasons why I loved Jackson Dart. So he was more efficient than Jackson Dart was in 2024. One of the things I love most about Fernando Mendoza, too, is he's very, very accurate. He specifically is accurate in short to mid-range throws, and in the season, he completed 73% of his passes. He had 6 games this year where he completed over 85%, and 3 more games where he completed over 91%, which is crazy. And the reason why he's so good at his accuracy is because his ball placement is elite. In my long history of being a scout, this is the number 1 quarterback that I've seen with ball placement. He has elite ball placement, specifically outside the numbers. He is probably the best back shoulder passer that I've seen going into the NFL draft. His back shoulder throws are insane. Ball placement is perfect every time. He gives his guy the opportunity, and only his guy the opportunity, to catch the ball. He is very, very good with ball placement and accuracy. One thing I love about him too is he is very poised in the pocket. He is a more traditional quarterback. He does have some movement ability, but he's more of a traditional quarterback versus one of these guys like a Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. He stands in the pocket. He delivers the ball. He's tough inside the pocket. He stands there. He takes hits, and it doesn't seem like it phases him. There's really a lot to like about Fernando Mendoza, but specifically, I think how smart he is and his quick mental processing is really where he wins the game.
I guess that means it's my turn. Hey guys, I'm here too. I'd like to agree and disagree with both of you guys. I think, and maybe this is what you meant, Avery, I think he's the clear number one pick. I don't think, and this is getting ahead of us here, I don't think he's the best prospect in the draft. There's no way the Raiders...
Will. I agree
There's
with you.
no way the Raiders don't take him. You can't not take this guy. At 6'5", he's got good enough arm talent for the NFL. He's not Josh Allen. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not slinging the ball 85 yards on the field. That's an exaggeration. Don't at me. But, as Joel said, he puts the ball right where he needs to every time. He makes the smart throws. I disagree with you a little bit, Joel. I don't think he's... I think he's easily upsettable in the pocket. I don't even know if that's the right way to put it. I think that when the pressure gets to him, he starts to, I don't want to say panic, but he starts to look for the way out. That's when he starts to run more. That's when he starts to scramble.
That's the thing. So that's the thing I didn't get to yet is while he's in the pocket, if he has time in the pocket to deliver the ball, he is very, very accurate. But when he gets pushed out of the pocket, he's not as much. His completion percentage drops significantly when he gets moved off of his spot and has to move outside of the pocket. It drops down to 53.2%. So where the Raiders are really going to have to help him is build his offensive line, because if they don't, the Raiders are going to be doing a huge disservice to Mendoza. But I think that Clint Kubiak is going to be the perfect coach for Mendoza going into the NFL because he just worked with Sam Darnold. And what was a big thing that everybody said about Sam Darnold for a long time? When he gets pressure, he's not good. But that wasn't the case with Clint Kubiak as his offensive coordinator. So Clint Kubiak's coming from Sam Darnold, where everybody said he couldn't handle the pressure. Same thing with Mendoza. If Mendoza goes into Las Vegas and he has a good offensive line around him, Clint Kubiak will figure out how to get the best out of Fernando Mendoza. I just think that when he has a clean pocket, he's able to stand in the pocket, step up, set his feet, deliver the ball accurately. But when he gets flushed out, you're correct. That is where he struggles a little bit.
Right. And okay, so I guess we're on the same page there. I think my favorite thing about Mendoza is that if you look at his mechanics at Cal and you look at his mechanics at Indiana, and this goes to speak with what you were saying, Avery, is that he's very coachable. He's willing to take what he has, what he fundamentally has, and improve on it. He's not set in his ways. His even down to like his stance taking the snap. They shortened up his stride. They got him more compact, ready to take and get ready to throw the ball. And so I think, like you said, Joel, I think Kubiak's going to do a good job of taking that and expanding on it. Now, again, like you said, Avery, going from Cignetti to a first-time head coach, that's going to be a big adjustment, especially on the Raiders, who were abysmal. I mean, just abysmal. So I'm afraid we're going to get a Marcus Mariota type where all the talent in the world goes to a bad team, constant change in coordinators, constant change in coaching, and it just never really works out. And that's the problem. I actually have written here, one of his downfalls is that he's too good in college to be good in the NFL. Because when you're too good in college as a quarterback, you go to the NFL, and if the team isn't already built around you to step into, chances are you're not going to be overwhelmingly successful. Now, there are a large number of cases where that's just not true. But more recently, that has been the case, where you are really good in college and you just don't pan out in the NFL because your situation you're stepping into is not right. I don't know who said it. Maybe it was Dan Orlovsky said, maybe it wasn't him, but I think it was Dan Orlovsky that said, teams fail quarterbacks more than quarterbacks fail their teams. because they just don't set them up into good
Absolutely.
scenarios. And the Raiders just traded away their best wide receiver last year to the Jaguars. And so now they've got, it's not that they don't have nobody, but they basically have nobody as a receiver. You've got Brock Bowers, you've got Ashton Genty. They need help. That team's going to need more than just Mendoza.
Raiders fans will tell you that it doesn't matter because they have $100 million in cap space. And I just keep telling them, there's no guarantee that anybody's going to sign with you. So
yeah, no one wants to play in Las Vegas because they've been bad. You're not getting the veterans to come there because you don't have win right now potential.
Right. And I just have one more thing to say about Fernando Mendoza. Something that he needs to work on is his improvisation. I think that's where he could really struggle, which is kind of similar to when he has to get out of the pocket. But he's not like a Josh Allen or a Caleb Williams or a Patrick Mahomes where he's escaping from all these guys. He struggles with improvisation, and that's due to him not being an elite athlete. He's a functional athlete, but he's not an elite athlete. Like Josh Allen is an elite athlete. Lamar Jackson is an elite athlete. Mendoza is not. Although he is more mobile than people think he is. So he can make plays with his legs. I do think that his rushing plays that he makes are more from his quick mental processing, though, than from his athletic ability. So when he runs, I think he reminds me a little bit of Baker Mayfield. May not be the perfect comp, but he reminds me a little bit of Baker Mayfield because when he is running out of the pocket and he's making plays with his legs, he's not the fastest guy. He's not the best athlete. But when he needs to run, he will run and he will run tough. So although it's something that he doesn't need to work on, his rushing ability is something that I do actually really like about Fernando Mendoza as well. Do you guys have anything else on Fernando?
Nope.
All right. Cool.
Are we ranking them now where we have them,
After.
or are we going to talk about them after? Okay.
Yeah, we're going to do it at the very end. So
I guess if I
All right.
listened to what you said earlier.
yeah, come on. All right, so the number 2 player on the ESPN Top 50 big board is Ohio State linebacker Arvell Reese. Will, I know you really, really like this guy, so why don't you start us off here?
Yeah, I do really like this guy. I actually just peel the curtain back. I actually did not put him as my number 1. I had him as my number 1, and I actually moved him off. He's got size 6'4", 243. He's incredibly tall for a linebacker. He's got great size. He's got everything you want in a linebacker. He's good all around. Ability to play on the line of scrimmage, off the ball, middle line of the line of scrimmage, standing up. He has played everywhere. Ohio State played him in every position. Between him and Caleb Downs, those two were pretty much your free player to play wherever you want to. They put all of them, or both of them, at every position that they have respectively. He's patient. He's good at keeping his eyes in the backfield, adjusts the ball as the play is developing, and explosive and reactive and explosive when he recognizes pass to get in there and disrupt the play. I do think he needs to use his hands more as a pass rusher and take on half a man. He needs to continue to develop his edge skills because he plays around so much. And I think this is very similar to what Micah Parsons did at Penn State, where Penn State had him playing standing up a lot and had him playing outside linebacker rather than edge rusher. And then when you got in the NFL, it's like, hey, actually, Dallas said, please get your hand in the dirt and just rush the passer. Rush the passer. Wow. Can't get that one out. Passer. Rush the passer. And so I think we're going to see a similar thing here where they take his skill set and say, hey, why don't we hone this one? He needs to continue to develop that edge rushing skills. That is unless he's going up against Will Campbell. Nobody needs to develop that. That's free skates. All good. So I like him a lot. And 69 total tackles you see here on the graphic doesn't seem like a lot, but what that doesn't show is how much he's constantly disrupting the play and is just in there making it so either he or somebody else can make the play all the time.
Yeah, I feel like this guy is kind of just like one of those mad dogs that you let off the leash. I feel like I think the areas of improvement kind of indicate. Honestly, I've been watching both of these guys for a couple of years now, just because Oregon's always, kind of around them. I've always felt like, dude, if you gave Arvell Reese Downs, brain or his mind to be able to dissect the play, I'm like, oh,
that would be insane.
Oh. And I think Caleb Downs is incredible, but we'll get to him later. But I do feel like this is one of those guys where it's like, look, if you've got a great coach who knows how to utilize someone like him. I mean, when I'd watch him, I wouldn't even realize that he's even like the size he is. He almost plays a little smaller, at least to me. I feel like he's very extremely quick, gets to where he wants to go, but I do think that the decision making is sometimes a little bit suspect. And I would hope, I mean, sometimes that doesn't translate in the NFL. Sometimes you just get a little lost in the sauce. But I would hope that wherever he goes, his coordinators know how to utilize him. Just like what we were talking about with the quarterbacks, it's most of the time the team fails them. I do hope that they get him the same way with Micah Parsons. Like, why don't we just have you rush? Just go in there and just get the tackle, get the sack. I hope that if they utilize him ideally to his strengths, I think he could be an absolute monster in the league.
I think so too. I think, like you mentioned, Avery, like with his rushing ability, and Will, you mentioned it too, like he's not a natural pass rusher. He doesn't have a lot of experience just being a pass rusher, and that might have to do with his lack of starting experience because he only started for 1 year at Ohio State. But what he is right now is he is an elite blitzer. When he blitzes and he is coming downhill to the quarterback, if there's anybody in his way, specifically running backs, he will blow them up to get to the quarterback. He does not let people get away from him when he is in pursuit. He doesn't lose to speed. He doesn't lose to power. He doesn't lose to size. He just wins when he's in pursuit of the ball carrier. He's a fantastic tackler. He had a 6% missed tackle rate this past season, which if you do the math, he only missed 4 tackles all season long. And that's because of how long he is. His arms are so long that it just allows him to wrap up ball carriers, and he does not let them get away from him. And probably my favorite thing about Arvell Reese is how strong of an anchor he has. He's able to just stand up offensive linemen who try to block him in the run game. He plants his feet, and instead of getting pushed back, he stands his ground, pushes up into the lineman, and then disengages to make the tackle. He uses his hands to overpower the offensive lineman and bullies them instead of letting them bully him. He uses his leverage very well. He gets up under their chest and pushes up to get them off balance. That was probably the number one thing that I was most impressed with Arvell Reese, is just his ability to just stop an offensive lineman in their tracks, push them up, and get off of them to make a tackle. What I think he needs to work on is his coverage ability, which is where the biggest thing he needs to improve, really. If you just let him go and pursue the ball carry and just let him loose, he can do anything you want. But if he needs to cover like a shifty running back or a shifty tight end, he does have a little bit of trouble with change of direction in that type of a situation. But again, I do think that comes from his lack of starting experience. And this comes from that as well. He also bites on play fakes, on play action type of stuff, and kind of takes him a little bit to diagnose the play sometimes and figure out where he needs to go. But when he figures out where he needs to go, his closing speed allows him to get there in a hurry. So overall, I think Arvell Reese has a ton of potential. He's the most physically gifted linebacker in this class. He's got the size, he's got the strength, he's got the speed. He is going to be a problem for offensive coordinators in the NFL. And the crazy part is he's only 20 years old and he's only been a starter for 1 season. This guy's going to be insane in the NFL.
Did you name your daughter after him?
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention that. He has the best name in the NFL draft. So, yeah. That's right. I did actually name my daughter after Arvell Reese. That's cool.
A year before he started.
That'll be the story if the Bucs somehow get him. There's no chance of that even happening. But if the Bucs were to somehow get Arvell Reese, that's the story moving forward forever.
You will retrofit the story. It's like, look,
exactly.
No, this is actually alternative history here. This is really what it is.
Yeah, and if the Bucs do somehow get him, I will instantly buy his jersey. But again, there's no chance of that happening. So go ahead, Will. What are you going to say?
Not. Nothing important.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the number 3 player on the ESPN Top 50 Big Board, which is Notre Dame running back Jeremiyah Love. So I'll start on this one. The first thing I wrote down on my notes for Jeremiyah Love is home run hitter. He is a big play threat every single time he touches the ball. This last season, he averaged 6.9 yards a carry. And the reason why he is a home run hitter is because he was actually a state champion sprinter in high school. He has elite acceleration to get away from defenders, and he's very patient behind his offensive line. Once he finds the hole, he's able to get up to full speed in a hurry. But I think what really makes Jeremiyah Love special is his ability to re-accelerate after slowing down to make defenders miss. A lot of running backs have good initial acceleration, but when they have to slow down to try and make somebody miss and then speed up again, it's just not the same. It's the exact same as his initial acceleration for Jeremiyah Love. He can start and stop on a dime. He reminds me of Jahmyr Gibbs in that way. His reacceleration is elite, and it allows him to get away from defenders. Additionally, he's very shifty just in general. He's able to make people miss with hurdles, jukes, or just straight speed. However, with the jukes and the hurdles and stuff, I think that's kind of one of his areas of improvement because I think he tries too hard to make cool plays. He puts himself at risk to get hit and take big hits. I think he does that too much. Like when I watched his tape, I saw several hurdles where he hurdles one defender, but then as he's going down, he's getting tackled by 3 other defenders coming to the ground. I even saw plays where he's trying to hurdle people at the line of scrimmage when they're not even close to the goal line. So like, I think he just tries to be a little bit too flashy, but overall his ability to dodge defenders and just accelerate through the hole is elite in my opinion.
I think this, I want to start by saying I'm never that high on running backs. I feel like for the most part, they have the shortest lifespan of any player in the NFL, any position in the NFL. And I feel like most of the time they are kind of subject to the offensive scheme and the offensive line that they have. I look at Genty and I'm like, look, everyone's still just kind of waiting to see what this kid's all about. He's had a whole year, but they're still just kind of like, oh, just wait till he gets, a good line. And I've seen too many running backs kind of come out of nowhere and have a great season that maybe just they weren't drafted very high. They hadn't gotten a shot somewhere else. And I think most of the time it comes down to situational football, whether that's just, hey, he was peaking at the right time. The offensive line was, just humming at that point. I say that to say that I don't ever feel like most running backs should be taken that high unless they are genuinely a generational talent. And I do not feel that Jeremiyah Love is a generational talent. I think he had a great season. I completely agree with what Joel said. I think that he is a little too lean. I think he gets a little too cavalier with his play style. I think that his physical attributes, his physical talents has carried him very far thus far in life. I do not think that he will be able to rely on those solely in the NFL. I think he might get broken too quick. I think he might get drafted to a team that needs him, which really means that they need an offensive line. If you've had an offensive line, any running back would do. And that's usually my opinion. If you're a healthy, young running back in the league and you did well in college and you are an NFL player, I feel like if you've got a good line, like you can do it. And I feel the same way with quarterbacks in general. Like the what Joel said about, Fernando Mendoza, if he's not pressured, he can make the throw. I'm like, hopefully every quarterback can do that, and it really just comes down
Justin
to like
Fields can, that's for sure.
Yeah, but he just plays for the Jets, and that's just a whole separate thing. But I do feel like, for the most part, it's not like, hey, what, it's usually like, what are you willing to do when no one's watching? What do you do when put to the test? Anyone can say like, oh, I'm going to be a good person. I'm going to do this. Like, but what about when you're tempted? Like, that's really, that's what you're made of. And so I see this as like, hey, I'm kind of trailing off here, but if a quarterback, has to break out of the pocket, that's the kind of stuff. It's like, let's see what you do. Let's see what natural intuition you have here. And I feel like Mendoza and Baker Mayfield kind of have that, where it's like every time they go on a little scramble, it's like they're usually making something out of absolutely nothing, sometimes less than nothing. That being said, I do think Jeremiyah Love has an insane talent. I think that he is very good, but I don't think that he is good enough to be top 6 in the draft. I think that there are better players at different positions than basically drafting a running back that isn't a generational talent this high up.
He's not Adrian Peterson. Right. He's not Adrian Peterson. He's not that type of running back.
No.
Sorry, Will. Go ahead.
No, I like this because I have a completely different take. I have a completely different take. I love Jeremiyah Love. I think he is maybe not the best. Maybe not the best athlete in this draft. I think best athlete probably goes to Caleb Downs or Arvell Reese. But Jeremiyah Love, like you mentioned, Joel, his ability to stop and then start running, that's what makes him such a good receiver as well. He's able to swing out in the flat, stop moving, get the ball, make one cut, and then he's downfield. And if you get him in the open field, he's gone. It is over. And I think that makes him incredibly useful to a lot of these teams, especially the bad teams that are going to draft him. I truly think Jeremiyah Love goes top 10. And I think that's what these bad teams need, is a way to slow down defensive linemen, because their offensive line is terrible. And so, just real quick here, not that we're diving into stats or anything, but I'm going to do it anyway. His sophomore year, so 2024, total rushing yards were 1,125 at Notre Dame. That's 70 yards per game. The very next year, last year, his junior year, he ran for 1,300 yards, 1,372 yards, which was 114 yards per game. His yards per game skyrocketed. And then you can say, out of use, they were using him more, they were feeding the ball more, they played 4 less games. All of that is contributing factors, but his ability and his just natural gift, like you said, Avery, carried him incredibly far. And when it comes to running backs, that's what you have to have. As you mentioned, Joel, in high school, he was a state champion sprinter, and that is incredibly important. Also, as you mentioned, kind of just parroting everything you said, he runs upright, like upright, leaving himself exposed, and that's why he gets hit so much. He also needs to work on his pass blocking. He can catch the ball well, but if he wants to be an every down back, he's going to have to work on his pass blocking as well.
Something just to note real quick, and then we'll move on. He's never had more than 200 carries in a season. So although he does expose himself to the big hits, they didn't give him an Ashton Genty type of workload. So that's a plus for him going into the NFL, especially if he goes to a team where it's a 2 running back system, such as the Lions, where you've got Jahmyr Gibbs, who's the speed guy, and David Montgomery, who's more of just a bruiser type of guy. So I think that would be the perfect situation for Jeremiyah Love.
Never more than 200 carries, but he did have more than 200 touches if you don't count the receptions.
Yes,
so
that's true. Yes, but he's not Christian McCaffrey touching the ball 413 times. That's
so much ball touching. Irresponsible amount. I know I said it before, but I'll say it again, an irresponsible amount.
3 guys, 413 balls. In this case, 1 guy. Christian, jeez.
All right, so moving on to number 4. This is Texas Tech edge David Bailey. Avery, I know you're a huge fan of that Texas Tech team. Why don't you start us off on this one?
Hey, Avery, did you know who this guy was before looking him up?
I watched him. Get abused by
Oregon.
Honest,
I had no idea. I could not have pointed to this guy on the field. Could not have told you who this guy was. Never once heard his name the entire season. Now, that's my fault. I understand that. I don't know ball. I get that.
You watched the game, though, right?
I had no clue who this guy was. Which guy? Which game?
Oregon-Texas Tech game?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. So well, then what I was going to say doesn't make any sense. So,
for me, I do feel like this guy's really good. From what I've seen, because I watched the Oregon game and then I watched some other games, well, specifically the defense where he's playing, it does feel like he has just raw talent. From what I've seen, the thing that gets me seems to be maybe self-control. He had a couple dumb penalties playing Oregon that were just like, okay, you need to get your shit in order. Sorry, Dad. And I feel like it's not only it's one of those, it's the controlling the emotions that like, Kate, this will hurt your team. It's not just like, oh, I'm getting upset, I'm throwing kind of a fit. It's stupid mistakes that he will make. I don't know if it's just the stuff I saw or whatever, but I do know that against Oregon, he was looking scary. He was looking very scary. And he's a big boy, and he was way more athletic than I thought he would be. I'm going to keep this pretty brief. That being said, I do feel like he might be one of those guys kind of like Arvell, where it's like, hey, if you've got the right situation, the right mentors, the right veterans, the right coaches to show him what's what and to utilize him correctly, I think he's going to be great. I always think back to that Will Campbell interview he had in college where he's just saying, and I know this got used against him after the Super Bowl, where he's saying, if you give up a sack every game, you're going to be working at Amazon, and it's one of those things where with him, if you're giving up a penalty or 2 every game, that's essentially like giving up a sack. It's like if you are committing these penalties, if you are making stupid decisions, and I'm not saying he's just out there being Dennis Rodman or anything, but it is one of those things that if you're not committing any penalties, like that is worth its weight in gold. Like if you go through your whole, like the whole game and you guys haven't committed any penalties, that's insane. Going back to Carolina, they only committed one foul in the second half. And you could say, oh, they should have given them more fouls. I know they didn't commit any, but they should have just given them to even it out. But that is absolutely how they ended up winning the game. So I feel like if he's utilized right, if he's guided right, I feel like he would be incredible in the league.
We talked about this last year, right? A guy who has incredible athleticism, unrefined technique. The major difference is David Bailey put up the stats. Shamar Stewart did not put up the stats, but we were saying the same thing. This guy's incredibly athletic. He's unrefined. He needs this, that, and the other. Gotta have to have help. But the vast difference between the two is, I think, the high motor. I think explosiveness and high motor. David Bailey has it. He doesn't know the play, right? This is the part about defense that they hate the offense, because the offense cheats because they know where the play's going. They know the snap count. They know all that stuff. They know where they're supposed to be. The defense just has to read and react. David Bailey's beating tackles to their spot. He is beating them. You have a quarterback has a 3-step drop. I have to slide step, or not slide step, I have to kick step X amount of times to make sure the pressure's set to open the pocket up. David Bailey's beating him there. He doesn't even care where you're going. He's just going to beat you there. He's faster than you. He gets off the ball faster than you. He's taking his first step while you're still trying to snap out of your stance. I think he is very good. Unfortunately, I don't rank him very high because of his run game lack of ability, really. He is not good in the run game.
I don't think it's as bad as people think it is, though.
I don't think it's as good as you think it is.
I don't think I don't think it's elite. I don't think it's elite by any means. I think when he was at Stanford, where he played for 3 years before going to Texas Tech, I think it was not great there, but I think it improved at Texas Tech. I think he got better. I don't think he is elite by any means. I think he can hold his own, but one of his areas of improvement is he does not have the anchor like Arvell Reese has. So he does get driven back in the run game. I don't think it's as bad as people think it is, but I understand what you're talking about. I just don't think it's as bad as people think it is.
So one thing that we have on our strengths here is variety of pass rush moves. I actually, watching the film, I a little bit disagree with this now. He loves the Dwight Freeney spin move. Loves it. Loves it so much. He loves to use it inside. He'll go up against a guard and then use it on the inside of the line of scrimmage, like inside guys, and it doesn't work there. I truly feel like he's only got 3 real moves. If you call being faster than you a move, then he's got 3. He's got the spin move. He's got the I'm faster than you move, and he's got the bull rush. We'll call it. Well, that's what it's called. But I just don't feel like when it comes to, let's say, a draw play, I just don't feel like the adjustment's going to be there enough. In college, when you're doing that spin move on anybody, it's going to work most of the time. He's very fast on it. He gets his feet right all the time. In the NFL, they're just going to push you in the back. You turn your back to them, they're just going to push you over. They're going to get you off balance and push you. The talent and ability is just different with NFL offensive linemen, and I don't think it's going to translate well, at least at the start. He will have to, obviously, training camps, OTAs, all of that. There is significant room for improvement. I just don't think it translates well initially. And that's where technique and all that stuff's going to have to be taught, whereas his raw talent and ability is something he already has.
Yes. Yeah, you basically said everything I had on his strengths and everything, but I'll just say this about David Bailey. David Bailey is a pass rush demon. He just finds ways to get to the quarterback. Any concerns that anybody has about his run defense should be heavily outweighed by his ability to get to the quarterback. In my opinion, it's much easier to build a great defense when you have the foundation of a pass rush versus the foundation of a run defense. It's easier to find an elite run defender than it is to find an elite pass rusher. And unfortunately, I'll use the Bucs as the perfect example here. They have a very solid foundation of a run defense, but what they lack is an elite pass rusher, which is why their defense was so bad down the stretch. And because they're in that situation now where they don't have an elite pass rusher, they either have to pay a crap load of money for a star pass rusher who's available, or they have to trade up in the draft to get an elite pass rusher because they're picking at 15. They're just not going to get one of the top pass rushers in the draft picking at 15. It's just not going to happen. So anybody who drafts David Bailey, forget about his run defense. Build the run defense around him because what he can do as a pass rusher will help your team win.
Or just do what Texas
balls
Tech
down.
did. Yes, just do what Texas Tech did and take him off the field on first down and second and short. Just take him off.
Yeah,
that's what they were doing. It's like, we'll switch him out. We don't need you to do this. You have the skill set. This is like I don't want to say the wrong name. Seattle drafted him in the first round. Is it Bruce Irvin? They drafted him just to be the pass rusher. Is that right?
I know Bruce Irvin played for them. I don't. What year?
Oh, this was a while ago, and everyone questioned it.
This was before we started the podcast, Will.
This is way before we started the podcast. Yeah, drafted. He's on the Dolphins now. I don't care about that. Yeah, first round, pick 15 for Seattle. He's a pass rush specialist. They drafted him at pick 15 for a pass rush specialist. And me and a lot of people who actually know what they're talking about, so not me, were like, why are you doing this? What is happening? The problem is Seattle was ahead of the curve. They were doing that. That was Legion of Boom era when they drafted him. Hey, we have all the help back here. Just get to that quarterback and make him make mistakes. And now look what people are doing. They're drafting people just to rush the passer. Wow, I'm having a rough time with that double S today. And it's like the mantra, hey, this guy is not that good at run defense. Doesn't matter. Draft him anyway.
All right. Well, if you guys don't have anything else to add there, I think we pretty much covered everything with David Bailey. So we'll move on to the 5th-ranked player on the ESPN Top 50, which is Ohio State safety Caleb Downs. Now, we'll talk about this later, but I think Caleb Downs is the best player in the 2026 NFL Draft. In my opinion, Caleb is the best player.
I also have him ranked at number 1.
Okay. Well, that solves the number 1 ranking there. So,
wow.
Yeah. 6 balls ranked him at number 1.
Yeah, Caleb Downs is a defensive chess piece who you can do pretty much anything with. You can put him at safety. You can put him at outside corner. You can put him at slot corner. You can use him as a linebacker. He can cover wide receivers. He can cover tight ends. He can cover running backs. He can tackle. He can blitz. He can do anything a defensive coordinator will ask him to do. He is the defensive leader of the secondary, and he commands that secondary both pre and post snap. He's very good at diagnosing plays. And so pre-snap, you'll see him aligning the secondary and getting everyone in position. And then post-snap, you'll see him using his instincts to just make plays. And he passes off the receivers and tight ends very well to his other teammates on the defense. I also think what I really like about him is how Ohio State used him around the line of scrimmage to just disrupt plays. You'll see him show looks like he's going to blitz, and then when the ball is snapped, he's doing something completely different from what the quarterback thought he was going to do, and it just confuses the quarterback, and that's what creates disruption at the line of scrimmage is what Caleb Downs does. So a defensive coordinator can pretty much do anything they want with this player.
My only drawback to Caleb Downs is and it's hard to say this is a drawback, but he likes to make the big play. And sometimes making the big play is at the detriment of looking like an idiot. You try to make the big tackle, the guy spins off you. You try to go for the interception and like make a flash, maybe not a flash interception, but you try to make try too hard to make a play on the ball rather than just making the tackle, and then they catch it and score a touchdown. It's very boom and bust. The good news is that he booms a lot more than he busts. Very good. Fits into every scheme in the NFL. I'd like it to be noted, the Rams just hired the Ohio State secondary coach as their secondary coach. So that sounds fun for me.
Hopefully they'll be better than they were this year.
Well, hopefully they draft Caleb Downs.
That would be unfair.
Trade a lot to get him.
That would be unfair. They have the capital to do it.
Yes, we do, don't we?
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen.
I don't even think they have to trade up that far, truly.
I don't think he's going to get drafted as high as he should be just based off of positional value because he's a safety. But he should get drafted higher than he will get drafted.
What is really interesting is I think safety specifically is the biggest gap in the draft this year. I think that you've got Caleb Downs at 1, and there's a bigger gap between 1 and 2 at safety than probably any other position. Now, that may be a bit much to say, but with how good Caleb Downs is versus how good the second guy is, and I don't have it pulled up right in front of me, it is a significant difference.
For a while now, this is going to sound like a very odd comparison, but he has always reminded me in a way of Luke Kuechly. I know they are completely different players that play completely different positions, but Luke Kuechly was one of those guys, and this is the comparison I'll make. Their physicality and their more just their not just the intuition, but their decisiveness to be able to go in and make the play, because usually that is what it takes. I mean, in a game of inches, I mean, if you can make the play quick, I mean, within a fraction of a second quicker than some other guy, like that's usually the difference between a tackle, an interception, or a sack. And this guy, I mean, whether he's making those big plays and sometimes, coming up short and therefore kind of penalizing the team because of it, I do feel like, especially as a defensive player, having the confidence and the know-how, I mean, I do feel like that's usually what makes or breaks a player or separates great players from average players. I mean, I think about anything. I mean, I'm sure anyone watching this, I mean, if you've ever, started something new or you wanted to get into something and you're just kind of unsure because you don't really know how you're supposed to do it or whatever. But then once you get into it, everything just starts clicking in your mind. You're a lot more confident. You don't have to think things through necessarily. It's more just second nature. And this guy just seems to have that second nature down to his first nature. It's just going after it. And so I really like that. I think that's, again, they play different positions, very different players, but that's what I see when I've seen him play.
Best player in the draft. Best player in the draft. All right, let's move on to the number 6 player, which is Rueben Bain from Miami. Now, Rueben Bain is one of the most controversial prospects in the NFL draft, in my opinion. A lot of people think he's great. A lot of people think he's a bust. And maybe bust is a little bit harsh, but I don't think he's ever going to be a top pass rusher in the NFL, in my opinion. The biggest knock on Rueben Bain is he's got short arms. We don't know his actual measurements yet, but many believe his arms are going to be measured below 31 inches. And just to tell you guys why that's important, here's a list of edge defenders with sub 31-inch arms since 1999 to have a double-digit sack season or make a Pro Bowl.
None.
That's it. None. Not one single person. Not one. It just doesn't happen. You can overcome that stuff in college against lesser talent, but in the NFL, you are going to have problems as a pass rusher if you have that short of arms. And Rueben Bain does miss a lot of tackles, and he doesn't finish plays because his length just doesn't allow him to do so.
To put this in perspective, last year, Will Campbell got a lot of knocks for his arm length, right? Like, that was a big thing last year with Will Campbell. His arms measured at 32 and 5/8. We're talking about Will Campbell measuring it under 31. That's over an inch and a half of length that even Will Campbell has on him, who had notably short arms.
It's very short.
I am not...
He got short arms, boy.
Maybe this is less of an unpopular opinion than I thought. I think Rueben Bain is fine. He's a good player. He's very athletic. He's going to be average in the NFL at best.
Average. I just don't see on tape a guy that's going to be an elite pass rusher. I don't see it.
I think, and this is a tinfoil hat opinion, I think he should put on between 25 and 40 pounds and switch to defensive tackle.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
I think he should get in the middle and just eat blocks. Stop trying to be, because, all right, here we go. This is going to feed some hate on the internet. When I watch this guy play, I don't see high motor. I don't see high efforts. His 40 time, I wrote it down, is 4.72. So when people get outside of him, he's the edge guy, by the way. When you get outside of him, the only way he's catching up to you is if you stop to juke or cut or something like that. He's not catching up to make the play, and I regularly see him not trying. Now, there are plays where he does try, and if you watch highlight reels, of course he's in every highlight reel. Right, because it's a highlight reel for him. Of course he's there. Of course he's making the play. But even in some highlight reels, I'm watching and say, this is not really, he didn't really do anything here. He just kind of walked out there, and the guy was still standing there, so he made the tackle. I don't like what he has going on. I think he has tendencies to take plays off when it's going away from him or if it's already past him. I think he needs to bulk up, gain weight, and switch to the middle. And then I think he could be a pretty good D tackle, eating things up. He likes to jump gaps a lot already, so he's already good at that. He's going to have an issue moving guys off the block, but centers and guards have shorter arms than tackles do normally. So he's going to have a better time in there doing that. So that's my opinion.
I like Will's take. I also kind of agree that most of his highlights to me just resemble just kind of being at the right place, the right time, maybe taking on some weaker, opponents. It's one of those things where I do agree with Will. In fact, I hadn't even thought of it. It's like, dude, yeah, put on 40 pounds, just eat up the middle. Like that, maybe that is, what he should be doing. But he does kind of look a little bit like a wild card. Like you really don't know what you're going to get. Like you are kind of rolling the dice on this guy, especially this high up in the draft. But yeah, I like Will's take a lot.
Sorry, Joel. This feels like a Browns draft pick. They're going to pick him at number 6. Oh. Just yeah, Browns, we got him. I've seen a couple mock drafts of him going to the Titans. I don't think Robert Saleh takes him. I don't think Saleh looks at this guy and goes, yeah, I want him. But I can see this is like the quintessential first pick for the drafts. For the Browns, excuse me.
The drafts.
The drafts. My bad.
No, here's what I'll say. I'll say one last kind of negative thing about Rueben Bain, and then I'll say some positives, because there are some positives with Rueben Bain as well. To me, there is a difference between a sack artist and a disruptor. Getting to the quarterback is a skill, and there's a big difference between having the skill to get to the quarterback and being able to disrupt the quarterback. To me, at the NFL level, Rueben Bain will be a disruptor, but he will not be a sack artist. There are many plays where you see him get in there initially because he does have a good first step, but then after that, if the quarterback moves away from him, like Will mentioned, he just stops. He's not in the play once the play moves away from him. So I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, and Will already mentioned this other player, but I think there's a comparison more so between these two players than the comparison Will made. There's a comparison between Rueben Bain and Shamar Stewart. Now, Rueben Bain does have better stats than Shamar Stewart, but Rueben Bain and Shamar Stewart are similar because they can both disrupt plays. They can move quarterbacks off their spot. They can force them out of the pocket, but there's just too many times when you see them miss plays. They can disrupt plays, but they don't make the play. They don't finish the play. So to me, those two are very similar in that way, is that they are disruptors, but they are not pass rushers. They don't have that ability to get to the quarterback as they should when they're being drafted as high as they are. Just to get to some positive things here, though, one of the best things about Rueben Bain is that he already has NFL-level coaching. His coach, his defensive line coach, is Hall of Fame pass rusher Jason Taylor. And because of that, he has been taught how to use his hands very, very well. Both he and Akeem Mesidor, who we'll get to in a couple weeks, because I think he's ranked like 17th or 18th on the big board for ESPN. These guys know how to use their hands very, very well. They have violent hands to get the offensive linemen off of them in order to help them make plays. So I think that is a positive. And Rueben Bain is very powerful, which he uses in the run game, which goes back to what Will mentioned about putting him inside and putting on weight. He is a very good run defender. He doesn't get moved he doesn't get moved back in the run game. So I think that is a really good positive for him. I just don't like his pass rush ability. Like if you're drafting a guy that high, you don't want him just to be a run defender. You want him to have more pass rush ability, and I don't see Rueben Bain having that ability at the NFL level. Do you guys have anything else to add before we rank these guys 1 through 6?
I was shocked that he was so low on ESPN's top 50. I full on expected him. Yeah, Rueben Bain. I expected him to be higher on that list.
Yeah, a lot of people have him as the number one pass rusher. I haven't seen him as the number one player, but I have definitely seen him a lot higher than. I mean, it's not really a lot higher because there's only 5 people ahead of him, but I've seen him higher than 6 for sure. So, okay, so here's where it gets interesting. Now we're going to rank these players 1 through 6. This is a collective top 50 big board that we're going to make as a podcast versus ESPN's top 50 big board. So right now we're only going to have 6 players on it, but this is an interesting conversation that we need to have because it really depends on what criteria you guys want to use to rank these guys. Do you guys want to rank them based off of positional value? Do you want to rank them based off of potential? Or do you want to rank them based off of who the best player is right now?
I think for how well they're going to do in the league, so potential.
Okay, so I said that Caleb Downs is the best player, but I think that there is a case for Arvell Reese as well because Caleb Downs, to me, is an NFL-ready player right now. He will step onto an NFL field and he'll look like he's been there for 5 years already. Like, you won't have to worry about Caleb Downs at all. However, I think with Arvell Reese, I think he has a higher ceiling than Downs, but he's only got 1 year of starting experience. And so you can tell there are some areas where it may take him some time to adjust to the NFL level. So I think Downs has a higher floor, but I think Reese has a higher ceiling if he can fulfill his potential.
I still like Downs over Reese.
I do too, just because I feel like he is the more NFL ready player. Like he's going to, like I said, he's going to step onto an NFL field. You're going to put him there and he's just going to make plays. He's going to look like he's been in the league for 5+ years already. So to me, I think Caleb Downs is the number 1 player.
I agree.
Okay. So who would you guys put at number 2?
I think Arvell.
I also think it's Arvell Reese.
I don't know how to take here. Everybody's going to hate. I have Jeremiyah Love at my number 2.
I do hate that. You're right. You're good.
But I have Arvell Reese at number 3. So I'm good with Arvell Reese. I mean, this is how it's give and take, right? I'm good with Arvell Reese being at 2, but based off of, like, I guess, situational potential, depending on where Jeremiyah Love goes, he could legitimately be in talks for Rookie of the Year, right?
Yes.
I mean, not that Arvell Reese can't and Caleb Downs can't, but I just think Jeremiyah Love's going to have a better NFL career when it comes to stats, but again, that's a lot easier to cherry pick for offense and defense.
How good would you say if this guy, if Love has the exact same career as Todd Gurley, would you still rank him there?
Do you not remember how good Todd Gurley was?
I think that's worth it.
I do remember distantly. Yeah, distantly. He wasn't
he didn't
even
play long
ago.
He didn't play long enough, but
that is kind of how I see him a little bit. I think he has the potential to peak as good as Gurley, but I do think that his floor is a lot lower. Not than Gurley. I think that the floor is basically Gurley, but I just don't see him. It's really just a running back bias for me, I think.
Yeah,
I've got him lower than 6.
Oh,
again,
no.
We may have to agree to disagree, though.
That's a positional value thing right there. So that does come into play when we're ranking these things. So, I mean, Will, if you're cool with Arvell Reese, I think Arvell Reese should be at number 2.
I am good with that.
Okay. So, Avery, who do you have at number 3?
I've got Mendoza.
I also have Mendoza at number 3. But Will, you
I
have
at 4 because I've got Jeremiyah Love up higher. So 3 is fine.
I would be willing to concede somewhere here, but I've got some other guys creeping into this. In the next following weeks, I've got some shakeups.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah,
I guess at this point, I realize now I'll have to come with some persuasive arguments because it's not just my opinion and my vibes. It's also like I gotta convince here. It's the Shark Tank, I gotta.
There's a 100% chance that our top 6 this week is not top 6 next week.
Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. 100% chance.
100%. Yep. Yeah.
Cool.
I think we're all in agreement there. All right. So we're putting Fernando at 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So we have David Bailey, Jeremiyah Love, and Rueben Bain. Does anybody not think Rueben Bain should be at 6?
I have David Bailey at 6.
Really?
Right. But just for this week.
Yeah.
Right. I think both of these guys are not top 6 people, but we've only got 6 numbers. So
I'm curious, Will, why are you putting Rueben Bain over David Bailey? Is it just because of the run defense?
Yeah, I think Rueben Bain is a more, so if you look at those like octagonal graphs that have the spider webs out, like, in 2K, you're looking at how in Madden, how good the player is. I think that David Bailey spikes a lot more in pass rushing, everything like that. But I think his overall would be less than Rueben Bain's if we're talking Madden stats. He would have a higher individual stat than Rueben Bain would have across the board, but I think his overall would be lower. It's like you're looking for a receiver. I don't care what his catch rating is. He just needs 99 speed.
All right. Well, I tried to make it easy by trying to get us to be in agreement on him at 6, but maybe not so much. So I have him at 6, but where do you guys have Rueben Bain? You have him at
I have him at 5.
5? Okay.
I have him at 5.
Okay. I'm cool with Rueben Bain at 5, but we need to figure out who's our 4. So we've got
Jeremiyah Love, right?
Jeremiyah Love. Avery, are you cool with that?
I'll concede that for the week. Yeah.
That's where I have Jeremiyah Love.
Jeremiyah Love's a better athlete than, and I'm well comfortable saying this, he's a better athlete and a better football player than both Rueben Bain and David Bailey.
I guess my thing is more just like, I think there are a lot of skill players that are really just subject to the other players around them.
Yep.
And I think that pass rushers are a little harder to come by. And I think that the lifespan of the player, I kind of edge out to the edge rushers, the pass rushers, or just, run stoppers. So for that reason, I am biased against the running backs a little bit more, but we can talk this out in other weeks.
Does this help, Avery? I think both Rueben Bain and David Bailey get drafted before Jeremiyah Love. I think they both get drafted.
I think that would be a smart thing for the teams to do. I think that would be smart for them to do.
Yeah, he gets drafted above them. I don't think Rueben Bain or David Bailey are better players.
Well, let me ask you, do you think that the teams that draft them above him, do you think that in 10 years they regret that?
No, because
I guess that's my rubric.
It's all about team fit at this point. Now we're arguing team fit over how good a player is. And like you said, it's easier. Well, you didn't really say this. You kind of hinted at this. It's easier to find a good enough running back to where you don't have to draft one in the top 10. And so, I mean, look at Rico Dowdle this year. He came out and exploded for Carolina. And so it's easy enough to find a guy who's a good scheme fit guy to do really well to where you don't have to use your top 10 pick for him. So I agree with what you're saying, but in sheer athletics, that's where I think that Jeremiyah Love fits in our top 5. That on sheer athleticism is why I have him at 2.
Based on that rubric, I agree. I agree with you.
I got him. I did it. I came with an argument that he could agree with.
We'll see if Avery can do the same thing to you next week.
And hey, I'm willing to listen to good arguments.
I purposely did not pay attention to anyone else. I solely focused on these guys so that next week I could maybe shuffle this up. So I'm trying to keep it exciting.
All right, so our top 6. So we've got 1 is Caleb Downs, 2 is Arvell Reese. We've got Fernando Mendoza at 3, and then Jeremiyah Love at 4. Rueben Bain's going at 5, and then David Bailey at 6. Is that correct?
I'm cool with that for now.
Yep. For now, yeah. Okay. For now is a good word for that.
Right. There's only top 6. There's only 6 players on our big board right now. 6
numbers.
So, right, exactly. So next week we'll shake it up, but for now we've only got 6. So yeah, do you guys have anything else you want to add before we close out the show?
Only 44 more players.
Only 44 more. See, once we get down to like the lower part, like probably like range like 40 to 50, there might be some players that we put into the top 50 that are not on ESPN's top 50. I already know one. I won't reveal it now, but I already know one for sure that I am 100% putting in the top 50 that ESPN does not have in the top 50. He is my second favorite player that I've scouted so far. He 100% deserves to be in the top 50, and ESPN does not have him there. So, once we get down to that range, we'll play with that a little bit more. But for now, we've only got the 6. So that's all we got on today's episode, guys. But next week, we're going to be ranking the top 12 players on ESPN's top big board. So we'll talk about players 7 through 12, and then we will adjust them in our top 12. And so we'll be doing that next week. Stay tuned for that. And as always, guys, don't forget to keep your balls played with. We'll see you next time.
Bye now, y'all. So Mark Davis' haircut still sucks.